Sky Squad, we are back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the drama that is swirling around Kenya Moore. And it doesn't just have to do with her suspension, there's even more that's coming out right now, and we're going to talk about it. We're also going to talk a little bit about this weird drama that's happening with Tamar's ex. A lot to unpack there, and we've also got some basketball wives news as well. As long and I think we're going to actually start expanding to talk a little bit more about pop culture news in general. So, y'all, if you're ready to get into it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button if you like reality TV and pop culture related content. All right, and then join the members community. We just released this video with Preston Mitchum, quite the interview yesterday in the members community. I just did a great interview with one of the former producers of R&B Divas, and we talk about whether or not the show could potentially come back. Okay, so we've got a lot to look forward to with that. I'll probably drop that either today or probably tomorrow or Friday or Saturday even. So be on the lookout for that in the membership community. The link to join is in the description down below. Now let's get into the tea. Kenya Moore is back in the news. All right. Shout out to our friends over at the Bravo Shade Room. They have been lighting it up with the Atlanta tea. So definitely give them a follow, a like, a comment. Let them know what your thoughts are about this. Okay, so what we have right now is Tiffany Rose apparently was being tested for the Real Housewives of Atlanta, and she sends a message to Kenya. God don't like ugly. Now look, she's fired. All right, a lot to unpack here. A lot to unpack here. Because A, who is Tiffany Rose? B, was Kenya actually fired? Plus, we're going to get the details on exactly what is going on. So, what I thought we would do is to first, let's go visit Tiffany Rose's page. Okay. You go on Instagram, it's Style by Tiffany Rose. So make sure to give her a follow. Let's give her a follow right now. There we go. Boom. All right. So she is the CEO and founder of the #1 Black owned beauty brand, Hollywood Hair Bar, Hollywood Skin Bar, and then she hashtags Hollywood Bath Bar. All right. And then it says stylist to the star. And then it lists Beverly Hills. Then it has a link to her website. So you guys can see all that she's got going on here. Right. So when you go to her IG stories, you can see her laughing here. Okay. Won't play the song because that belongs to Gunna. But it says at Kenya, and she adds her, God don't like ugly. The next thing she posts is what was also posted on the Bravo Shade Room, which we'll go back and we'll talk about it. And she describes what happened in detail. All right. So that's Tiffany Rose. Apparently, she was being considered for the Real Housewives of Atlanta season 16. Now, let's go back over to the Bravo Shade Room to take a look at what she posted in detail. It says at Kenya, which it's interesting that she at her. God don't like ugly. So then what's combined here, what was in the next IG story. It says, someone says, what's your beef with Kenya? Tell me tomorrow. So I'm assuming this is part of a text thread that she's showing, but not with whom. So it says, oh my God, can't wait to tell you. She made sure to make a huge deal about me coming on the Housewives of Atlanta show. I was going to be one of the newest housewives. Then it says they wanted to make pit. I guess that she's trying to say they wanted to pit my business against hers, and she made it a huge deal. Looked up my house information in Atlanta and started to stalk me. And then someone says, I guess this other person says her dress looks like well, I'm not going to say that word, chaps. Anyway, then she goes on to say, to try and find dirt on me, it was crazy. And now look, she's fired. And we have a new show coming. Okay, so let's break all of that down. Let's break it down on down. All right. So she has a business called the Hollywood Hair Bar. This would definitely be in direct competition to Kenya's uh hair spa, right? Now that's not to say that the two couldn't coexist and possibly end up being the best of friends, but we know that if she's saying that they were trying to pit the two of them against each other, then we would have the hair bar wars. But in my mind, I'm like, I mean, listen, the more the merrier. You know what I'm saying? Like it is what it is. Everybody got a business. Portia got the weaves, you know. Kenya got the stuff for the hair. But I guess because Kenya's spa was supposed to be a big storyline, I can see that she might be a little bit annoyed by that, right? But then the allegation is that, Kenya made a huge deal about it and looked up her house information in Atlanta. We put the alleged badge up here because I know how things are in these streets. Okay. Um, so then she says to try to find dirt on me, it was crazy. Now, interestingly enough, this whole situation with Brit and Kenya seems to be a result of, I don't know who started it, okay, but what I know is that it resulted in some information being at least either given to Kenya, her finding it, or whatever the case may be, and her talking about it, which we heard in audio from the event. We don't know who leaked that audio, but we heard it, right? So now, if you look at the post right here, it says, and now look, she's fired, and we have a new show coming. So that's two other things that we got to dissect. The one, that Kenya Moore is fired. Okay, so in order for us to really dive deeper into that, I want to take things over to our friends over at Reality Blurb. All right. Now, I don't know if you guys are following Reality Blurb or not, but the post reads essentially, and let me go ahead and like it to show some love. Was Kenya Moore fired from the Real Housewives of Atlanta amid, the allegations? A source claims production reviewed the footage from the alleged event and was shocked. Plus, an insider refutes the pow pow threat rumor. Read the latest in the link in the bio. Okay, so let's go and take a look see at what they had to say over at realityblurb.com. Okay, so here is where the tea is coming from, right? So we look at Bravo and Cocktails, an account labeled Bravo Connoisseur says, according to a tip from Bravo and Cocktails, Kenya will not be returning to Real Housewives of Atlanta. So the subject line reads, so long Atlanta, spill it at Bravo to Bravo and Cocktails.com. It says, Kenya is done. NBC has zero tolerance for this at this current point in time and doesn't want legal repercussions from Brit. The footage has all been reviewed. Okay. Now, apparently, an insider told Entertainment Tonight that Kenya is indefinitely suspended, and you guys know that from filming as Bravo reviews separate incidents. All right, so we have that going on. So, two sources at this point have alleged that Kenya Moore is fired from the Real Housewives of Atlanta season 16. Now, there's been no official statement. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know that there's been nothing official that has come out as of yet, except for the information leaking. When this information about the alleged incident that occurred with the posters, that came from me, the first time I heard about it initially was from um, Media Takeout. Then the next thing I think I remember hearing or seeing was when the Neighborhood Talk reposted Michelle Brown. So then, things began to intensify as we began to sort of see this thing play out in real time across social media and across the headlines. So to be honest with you, again, with all of the legal things that Bravo is currently facing, it would not surprise me if there was a zero tolerance for this type of incident, especially considering that there's really no need for it, right? So, I mean, unless, I mean, did Britt steal her man? Did she take money from her bank account? I don't think listen, because she didn't do any of that. I mean, the comeback was it really warranted? Like, what did Britt say or do that was that bad that Kenya had to go in that hard on her, thus risking her job potentially and other aspects of her livelihood? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see when official word comes out. And I just want to note for you guys, before you get up in arms at the keyboard, furiously typing away, these are all at this point allegations. I am just here to communicate with you the information that I am finding out and provide commentary on it as such. Okay. So let us continue to wait to see how things play out before we rush to the judgment. Okay. Although we can't judge what we have heard thus far about what happened at the event. Let me know what your thoughts are. Will you still be watching Real Housewives of Atlanta if there is no Kenya Moore? And I mean, if there is no Kenya Moore, is there a show? I mean, I guess that's the question. I mean, I feel like there's still an opportunity there. You know, I just think that they need to move in the right direction. And I don't know what that is at this point in time. All right, so let us move on because we've got some other things that we need to discuss. One of those situations being Tamar. Now, for me, I hope that Tamar has had enough of this relationship or situationship with JR, okay? Because ultimately, I just feel like there's been too much that has occurred. So, according to the Neighborhood Talk, the headline reads, "Oop, conservative commentator Angie Stanton posts picture with Tamar Braxton's man, JR." And the quote reads, "Last night, I told your man that he didn't need you." So the post read, "Hey, at Tamar Braxton, remember when you told my child he didn't need me? Well, last night I told your man that he didn't need you. Of course, he agreed." Okay. So I don't know exactly what Tamar said to this woman about this woman and her child. I really don't know. I'm not familiar with the history of this at all in any way, shape, or form. I'm just telling you what was said. Okay. Angela Stanton King, okay, wants y'all to know she doesn't swirl, is what the headline reads, because we're going to move forward in this, right? Because this was the first initial post that we saw. So then the next thing we see is JR post pulling the video from the event so we can put this one to bed. People will do anything for clicks. It's all capped. Because I guess people were trying to then assume, based on what she posted, that maybe the two of them were trying to get together, a la JR and Tommy, okay, who is currently going through her own situation with, you know, this whole thing with Peter Thomas. That it doesn't even bear discussing because it's confusing to me about what Tommy was trying to say and what she actually communicated. And again, if you guys want me to talk about it, we will. But for right now, I kind of feel like there's no need. All right. So then Angela had some things to get off her chest. Okay. She is clarifying that she has no interest in Tamar's man, JR. My preference is and has always been dark chocolate. And here's what she had to say.
Everybody, I just wanted to come on here really quickly because I see that I've gone viral. I'm all over the place in regards to Junior. And I just want to say this. Yes, I did see Junior at an event last night for Young Jock, and he did speak. He actually had several things to say. And in fact, there were several women that he refused to take a picture with, but he was more than willing to take a picture with me. Now, if you look at the caption and you read the caption simply says what it says. It does not say that he and I are seeing each other or that we are any type of relationship. For those of you all that don't know, my preference is and has always been dark chocolate. I'll leave it at that.
All right, so let's go back to her original post. It really seemed more of a jab at Tamar about sort of returning serve, right? So if she's alleging that Tamar told her child that he didn't need her, then it's kind of like, okay, well, I'm gonna one up you. I'm gonna tell your man he don't need you. Okay. It sounds like Tamar and JR might have already ended things they probably should anyway. So I guess she wanted to clarify what she meant by that. But this makes me think about the whole Anthony Mackie story. Now, we ain't really touched on that here on the channel because I know for the most part I've kept things mostly reality TV based. But because I do feel like, I'm expanding and growing, baby. Okay. So we want to do some different things. And to be quite honest with you, reality TV at this point in time is a little dry. Okay. It's a little bit dry. And when I go and I talk about pop culture on shows like Fox 5 or MSNBC, then I'm going to have to talk about these other things anyway. So why not bring some of that here, but only the topics that actually interest me or that I think might interest you. Anyway, so the Anthony Mackie story is basically a clip that has gone viral of a young lady who is explaining how rude she felt like Anthony Mackie was because he did not want to take a photo with her. Okay. And I guess it was based on, how she was approaching him at a gas station and how he was basically like, no, okay, no, no. All right. And then, there's the clip of him that's going viral right now, also, where he is in sort of what seems to be an actors roundtable. And he's talking about how, people not taking photos with people and not wanting to be a part of people's realities because he's had photos taken in the past and they have been used in a way that didn't feel appropriate to what had occurred, right? So I think if you take a look at the situation with Angela and JR, but also based on her comment and his history of, sort of the whole getting with Tommy and how that turned out, it could be easily misconstrued that there's more meaning behind that message than what Angela had actually written, right? So we're looking at past behavior. We're looking at also just the caption of it all. And so to put it all together, it definitely gave a certain type of look, right? So going back to the Anthony Mackie thing, I can sort of almost understand why he may not want to take photos with people because I do feel like, we are in a space and time, as he says in the Actors Roundtable, where we are being taught that we need to learn how to respect people's no's. Okay. So if you say no to something, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's coming across rude. That basically just means that this is my boundary that I've set up. And at that point in time, he was not working, right? He was out. He was getting gas. I think he was having his cigar or whatever the case may be. And I don't necessarily blame the person who wanted a photograph with him. For those of you guys who don't know who Anthony Mackie is, he plays Falcon in the Marvel universe. He played in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He's played in a lot of the Captain America movies, Marvel movies. He's done a lot of work outside of Marvel as well. So just want to clarify that. But it just got me thinking, like, people have a right to not want to take a photo. Now, if you ask me to take a photo with you, 9 times out of 10, but I ain't nobody, you know what I'm saying? I'm just me, right? But, for me, I just kind of feel like, I just understand how, somebody might just want to capture a moment with somebody that they listen to, if I'm in your home, on a day-to-day basis, or, if I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Now, it may be different if I'm with my mom or something like that. But for the most part, I feel like I try, but I also understand and respect the fact that people who are, at definitely much higher levels in the entertainment industry might want their space and their privacy. And when they're not on the clock and they're not working, that they are people too. The last thing that I want to talk to you guys about is this story that I found. I just found it interesting. This story with Well, two stories actually. Let's talk about um Evelyn's daughter, Evelyn Lozada's daughter is expecting. So we saw the reveal on Instagram. If you guys had not been checking out Evelyn's page and you did not know Evelyn from Basketball Wives, her daughter Shaniece is Reggers, okay? But it's being alleged that it's by the game. Now, the game, for most people, is a bit of a controversial figure because of some of the allegations that have, and just there have been situations with the game that just feel very grimy, very icky, for a lot of different people, right? So Shaniece, interestingly enough, did not name the father in the social media post, but sources are telling the Jasmine brand that the father is the game, who is 44. Now, they had been linked back in December of 2023 after being spotted on a Christmas Eve dinner date in Nobu in Malibu. Now, the game has three other children from previous relationships, and it is what it is at this point. Um, What are your thoughts about this? I mean, listen, at the end of the day, I kind of feel like I'm a firm believer in letting people live and let live and do what they need to do, especially if they are grown, consenting adults and they really don't have nothing to do with me. Okay. But if you look at the comments would definitely, one person says, "Why do we congratulate intentional broken families all the time? It's wild." Someone else says, "So she didn't read his Yelp reviews? Yikes." Someone else says she could have done a lot better and younger. And someone else says, "Did he finish paying off his assault case?" So listen, the question that I want to pose to you guys is, how do we receive it when someone with allegations, court cases, gets with someone that we deem, I don't want to say just innocent, but I'm just kind of like, how do we receive this information, right? How do we absorb it in a way that feels like, okay, congrats to these two, but woo, girl, watch out. How do we manage that, right? Is it a congratulations or is it, a shake of our heads? I'm still trying to process some of these things myself. So let us know down in the comment section down below. For me, it's all about how do we receive these things in a healthy manner, right? That's really what it's about. And how do we do so from a place of like trying not to judge, but still the reality of it is we're gonna be a little judgy, okay? Because that's human nature at its core. So I want to talk about one last thing real quick because I just find that this is very petty to me. It's very petty. And based on what I saw of him when we watched the College Hill season that he was on, I feel like I expected more and better from him, but without knowing the details of their divorce as much as I would like to know, based on, again, the fact that T- Teyana Taylor is, to me, legendary. She's iconic. I feel like she's growing into icon status in the fashion industry and just in terms of being an actress, an overall mogul, someone who I think has what it takes to go the distance in the world of entertainment in a way that I feel like is going to shock and surprise the world at some point. All right. If it hasn't already. All right. So the Jasmine brand is reporting that during their latest court hearing, all right, they're fighting over how to split their assets. This is given very much Simon and Portia to a certain degree, but not okay, not okay. Don't take it too far. Um, and the custody agreements for their children. So insiders are claiming that Iman wants the items he gifted Teyana Taylor during their relationship returned now that they're no longer together. He reportedly expressed, "Give me my jewelry. I'm ungifting that condo." Okay. Um, with regarding custody, he wants a week on and week off agreement. But because they're minors and his work life sort of takes place outside of Georgia, the state where the kids permanently reside, that could prove to be difficult. Witnesses have testified that she is constantly offering additional time with the kids, but he's refused due to his work schedule. He allegedly said that a 3-day heads up is not enough notice to offer him extra parenting time. I don't really care to get into all of that because to me, again, as I've stated plenty of times on this channel, I'm not a parent. So for me, that's a bit difficult for me to uh figure out how to really speak to in a very meaningful way that I feel like would be based on my own levels of experience. So that's a difficult thing for me, right? And I've told you guys that before, and I've been very upfront about my feelings about that. But what I will say is that to ungift the things that you have given during the course of a relationship, and some of this could possibly be applied to Simon and Portia as well, is I just think extremely petty. I think it's extremely distasteful. And I think, especially for the man, I feel like, bro, if you gifted these things in the spirit of love, I mean, unless there was some type of prenuptial agreement in place that says otherwise, these gifts that were given, I feel like you can't take them back. And I don't even think you should want them back, to be quite honest with you, because anything that I gave you in the relationship or in the friendship or any relationship to me, I feel like I don't want it back because number one, I feel like I gave it to you in the spirit of we're going to be together forever. I would love for us to be together forever. I love you, and that is that. Okay? Because if you're going to be the giver that takes things back, then you probably should stop gifting things. Okay? You should probably stop gifting these things. And if these gifts are based on the condition that we are going to be together forever, then as most people would like to believe when they get married, or at least that's the theory involved behind where we would think marriage would be in today's world, not the world of yesterday where marriage was more of a business exchange between families, right? When we think about how relationships are built in today's society, where it should be based on equal partnership, two people coming together because they want to live together and stay together and build a life and family together. Okay. Then I think that when you give these types of gifts in those situations, asking for them back is petty to me. All right. And I feel like at this point in time, especially, as the man, go ahead, take that L if it's really an L and keep it pushing. Lesson learned. The next girl you get with, maybe don't give her a condo if you love her. Because now what you look like is you look like the type of person that when you get into a relationship and things don't go your way, things go wrong, you're gonna be asking for these gifts back. So if the next woman comes along, she will be wise to start looking at you kind of side eye when you give her a gift, because the question could be at any point in time, could you ask for it back when you get mad or things don't go well? Just my thoughts on the situation. Okay. So anyway, y'all, that is the tea that we got for y'all right now. Like I said, if you like talking about, outside matters and outside of the world of reality TV, sometimes to me, I find stories that I'm like, you know what, I want to talk about that. And I feel like what I'm going to start doing is including those things because it's fun to me. And what I have learned about myself is that, just simply talking about reality TV, especially when it's a space where it becomes repetitive, I just need something different to excite me. You know what I'm saying? Outside of the books that I'm writing, outside of the screenplays that I'm writing, outside of things that I'm doing, given that this is something that I have felt like we have built together, it's time to expand beyond. That's why you're getting more interviews. That's why we're doing the membership. That's why we're doing these exciting new things. We're traveling together. We're going to Bali. Then we got the next trip coming up in March. You know what I'm saying? I want to do, teach you guys more about like digital marketing and stuff like that that I've studied, that I know, teach you how to get into the travel industry and get paid to do it, right? I want to do all of those types of things. So we're going to start expanding dramatically and even into doing live podcasts. Oh yes, we have something I think almost on the books for beginning in September. So definitely start letting me know where y'all want us to come, right? Where you want me to come. I got New York, I think almost on lock, DC almost on lock. So keep those things in mind and let me know in the chat if you're interested in expanding and growing along with me. All right. So with that being said, make sure you guys keep it locked onto the channel. Of course, we're going to continue to bring you more and more news right here, as we always do. Ain't nothing going to change with that at this point in time. But subscribe, because we're going places and we're going to be doing some amazing things, and I'm super excited about it. So with that being said, I will catch you in the next video.